Hello, welcome to the Sovereign Magazine Show, a transformational experience where conscious conversations meet embodied wisdom. Each episode invites visionary healers, thought leaders, and change makers to share their journeys of awakening, offering listeners practical tools and soul-stirring insights to reclaim their inner authority. Today, we have back Cassandra Ares, who is talking for an entire year with us about internal, which is the energetic leadership blueprint. She is a dynamic blend of corporate leadership and intuitive guidance, seamlessly balancing boardroom strategy with spiritual insight. As a numerologist and intuitive channel, she integrates her gifts into all aspects of life, from business to psychic circles, and she values faith and humor, empowering others to face their fears and embrace authenticity. Her mission is to guide people towards self-liberation through awareness and self-forgiveness, helping them find true freedom through her internal leadership approach that reveals energetic blueprints beneath behavior. Welcome back, my love. And today we are talking about leadership trajectory.
Yes, and every single time I say leadership trajectory, it's probably going to sound different. So perhaps when I was creating this, I should have called it something else, but that's all right. We can start with a little bit of humor today. Um, you know,
Oh,
as
let me
as
say one more
yeah,
thing. If
yeah.
anybody missed the foundational episodes, which were about an introduction to what internal is, we also have talked about leadership, perception. See, I'm having a harder time with that word. Go back and listen to episode 1 and 2. Okay, go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, so we're going to be diving into one of my favorites actually when we talk about leadership, and that is leadership trajectory. And so this is not something that is a promotion, or you think about like you're now on the board for something. These are roles that you naturally step into, that your leadership shows up in different ways. Each of us are unique, and we'll dive into a little bit of what that might mean. This is also shows up in the problems that you're always pulled to solve. Others
Mm.
realize that this is sort of your zone of genius, if you will, something
Mhm.
that you're here to master. Um, and it's really where people tend to rely on you and your leadership as well.
Can't wait
So
to see what mine are.
it's so fitting. And we can dive in. So Nicole is going to be sort of my guinea pig for some of the questions, the invitations that we have throughout the session. And then we'll dive into a little bit of the detail of you and sort of bring it back to how you've answered those questions. So I'm really excited to see how that pans out.
Me
So
too. Me too.
thank you.
A
Thank you.
pleasure. I love talking about this stuff.
Amazing. But there's the zest of, instead of trusting this and reflecting back and becoming aware of this, we tend to compare or will delay on the ways that we truly show up in leadership, or we might follow someone else's timeline. So we'll kind of go into sort of some of those icky bits, in energy in this leadership blueprint. We talk about the contrast. And so what are the positives, and then what are we saying in corporate? The opportunity areas.
Oh,
Really, it's those growth areas that
okay.
we want to focus on, right? Take it for what it will.
Yes.
Where this sometimes falls apart is really like when you stop following yourself. And so the course feels slow, or it feels ick, is kind of what I like to say. And so your power doesn't come from choosing the right path. Oftentimes we're told what the right path is. It comes from fully committing to the one that keeps choosing you.
Oh, I can
Right.
so identify with that statement.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it
Yes.
feels in alignment too. It's not like, oh, this lesson keeps showing me in certain things. Like, that's a whole other conversation. This is where you lead, it's in alignment, and it keeps coming back to you. Cool.
Mhm.
So let's make this real. I've got like a little natural leadership pull piece. And so look at Nicole, if you would. Look at where people already rely on you.
Mhm.
Not where you think you should lead, but where it's already happening, right?
Okay.
Where are you being pulled in, asked for input, expected to take ownership, really without it ever being formal.
Personally or professionally?
Both.
Hmm. Personally, oh, I guess maybe they kind of overlap. I would say as
Yes.
now, so when I went to the personal, I was like, oh, that's kind of the professional. So when I went to the personal, of course, I'm the nurturer,
Mhm.
right? I was a nurse and all of that. And in my family realm, I'm the nurturer. I'm the safe space. I'm the comforter, if you will. I'm also the schedule keeper, the making sure things run efficiently and effectively. So if I transfer that, that's kind of what I do in sovereign, which I didn't even realize it. So many people come to me for advice, personal or professional. They run things by me. They like to feel held and nurtured, valued, seen, all of that. And then I also am the holder of their schedules as well. So when, they have
And time.
a schedule conflict, they don't hesitate to reach out to me instead of the team, which is perfectly fine because I'm the source that they need to talk to anyway, because it's usually my schedule that's impacted. So they don't have to wait to talk to the team or anything like that. So interestingly enough, they both overlap.
Yes. And what's interesting about your numbers too, specifically, is you sort of hold this legacy. You're a legacy holder. And what that means is that you bring together like this long-term wisdom too. Like, yes, those are skills, but this just kind of lends itself to sovereign. And I'm sure you do this with your friends and everything like that, but you can vision and you hold the we.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sounds really strange, but
Yeah.
I love saying that to corporate audiences. They're like, excuse me, you hold the we, you know? But instead of the I or the me, you're constantly thinking of the we. And so I love that people
100%.
go to you for that type of thing. It's yes, the scheduling too. That's important. That's like time is irrelevant is what my guides always tell me, but we're in the human realm, and so it's a thing. Um, but yeah, integration of wisdom. I'm just looking at some of the notes I made. Mastery is also something
Hmm.
that you help to teach and you help to share, and it's almost like this it's hilarious that I didn't put in my notes, but I just realized this energy also holds divine feminine,
Mm.
which is Sovereign Magazine where it started. I know that we're dabbling in other places too, but like the feminine and all those other pieces that you sort of hold. So I just wanted to reflect that back to you. So I love that.
Interesting. And I never think about the I. I'm always thinking about the we, always. And it's funny, I had this revelation the other day with my husband, and he said, oh, that's really sad. And I don't think that it's sad at all. And that is, I get energy and excitement when there's a we and not an I. I
Yep.
get so much energy and fulfillment if whatever I'm doing includes the we and it benefits thee and not
Hmm.
just me. And so I'll give you an example. My best friend, her son is just got diagnosed celiac, and I'm a celiac. So I've been helping her, and that is lighting me up to teach her foods and all of that, right? Because there's a we component, and it's not
Yeah.
just me. So my daughter's reaping the benefits because she's like, you're making all this like yummy food.
Like, that's amazing. Keep it up.
Yeah, yeah, she's loving it. Yeah.
Well, it brings you bring calm and groundedness too. That's also something that is very much this legacy leader because you understand the long term. Even if you don't necessarily have the vision in the moment, you can feel and you're receptive because that's part of divine feminine, right? You're receptive to this is what's best for the the collective or the greater good or whatever it may be. So,
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I would make a decision that is better for the collective versus than just better for me. Like all of my decisions
mhm.
are always related to the collective. I don't make individualistic decisions.
Yes, absolutely. Amazing. Well, with that, one other piece about leadership trajectory is Here we go. It's the end of the day for me too.
Oh my gosh, I've been up 12 hours
I
already.
know you're already like, it's the end of your day as well. That's right. So it's really how you grow into your power and how you lead in your own life. Again, whether corporate, personal, it doesn't matter, but it's how you grow into your power over time. It might be how you expand your influence. It doesn't matter what situation, but influence is key, right? It's what kind of responsibility you've built to hold. And it's where your leadership stabilizes versus collapses. And we'll be talking more about that collapse next episode. So stabilization is really, really key here. Some people are built to lead people, others are built to lead systems. Some maybe lead vision. Maybe there's a crossover and there's multi-facets to what is really aligned and what people come to you for because it's your natural sort of ability and thing you're here to master, right? Some people lead change, which I think
Mm,
is really, really important to recognize because not all leader roles or the next promotion are actually the key people who help to lead change. So I just, especially with the mini existential crisis I had today earlier, I think with change comes great responsibility. And so those of you who have these energetics, you're just so essential. I'm going to get teary-eyed. So we're going to continue. The problem sometimes with this leadership trajectory is that we try to lead in ways that actually don't match it. And
mm,
so that's why a promotion actually might feel super heavy instead of exciting, right? It's like the next thing, but you're actually just dreading it when you
mm,
get it.
mhm,
Or leadership might feel like pressure instead of expansion. That's also a red flag, right? Or success doesn't feel like yours, right? Human beings are selfish to a point, but your success should feel like you have ownership of it and that you're excited about what has come.
mhm.
Um, when your leadership trajectory is misaligned, everything feels harder than it should. And so let's sort of like bring this to a head, right? There's always a pattern in the problems that you solve or what's one thing that I wrote down here I wanted to share. What you do consistently you get pulled into fixing or organizing or leading or clarifying, no matter what the job, the team, or the environment, right?
Mhm,
That
mhm.
pattern tells you more about the power that you wield and the leadership that you have than any job title ever will.
Okay.
And I know, Nicole, personally for you, you've had plenty of titles.
Oh yeah.
So my invitation to you would be, with the definition of what we've been talking about, what are some consistent things that you might share with our audience that really shows you what we've talked about are your superpowers and how maybe you've grown them a little bit?
Mm. So I'm gonna just say what's on my mind here and then you can dissect it. I would say my superpower is not micromanaging. I like to build a team that is so confident in their abilities that I don't need to go behind them and micromanage. Like the team and I have one team meeting on one week where we all meet together, and the next week we have one-to-ones that are usually about personal stuff. We usually just like check in. How are you doing over there? But it's never this like, I just don't like to micromanage the team. I know that they can meet their deadlines. However, that leadership style is not welcomed very often in the corporate world, I have figured out. They don't like to empower the subordinates for some reason, if you want to call them that, employees, whatever you want to call them, but they look at them as subordinates. And I'm like, but why not? Like, I think of everybody as equal. Just because I have the title manager doesn't mean that I can't come and help you do your job while you go on a break because you're overloaded. And so I would do that when I was nurse manager and stuff. And I still do that now. Like the team was
Yeah.
overloaded this week, and I was like, give me your stuff. And then guess what? The team said, Nicole, you're overloaded. Can I take that off your plate? Right. So it's
Mhm.
this reciprocity that I have that I think is my superpower because what it builds is trust and it builds longevity in our ability to grow as a team and our ability to stay cohesive. I mean, like, we're all so happy. It's kind of sick and disgusting. I mean, we are. We're so happy. And I don't know. I've always been told that it was wrong until I owned my own business and it's working out great.
Yeah, I think one of the things, and this is very much divine feminine leadership too. So this is like your zone of genius is holding boundaries that make sense to you, but also holding space for transformation. And if you micromanage, you can't do that.
Oh.
Can't.
Well, and I also know my team members' human design. I
Mm,
also know their
so important.
strengths. I don't create job positions. I interview, I hire on personality, and then I create the job position. I don't hire on what skills they have. Skills can be taught. What can't be taught is personality. What can be taught is dedication. So that's why I feel like what works works because I'm hiring the person because we get along really well and I can teach them anything.
Yeah, I love that. We're going to dive into some of like the contrast of that in a little bit, I think, because I would love
Okay.
your take on generally what I see with
Okay.
the legacy leaders. And we're definitely going to go over the time, but I think that's it.
Okay. No worries.
So I do have a section in here that I'd like to talk about, and it's how you're potentially slowing this growth down, right? This is your growth into your power. So this is what we want folks to start to harness if they have not already. But again, this is like it's choosing you. It has chosen you over and over and over again. And it's my belief that you chose it when you dropped into this earthly vessel, right?
Right.
And so acceleration isn't about doing more, which is often what we're taught. It's about removing the resistance to who you already are. And I think that's very, very important because oftentimes we're so worried about the external bits and how to fit the mold when that's exactly the opposite of what we need to be doing. That's
Mhm.
overthinking your next move. That's waiting for permission. Whoa. Oh my gosh, I see that so often, even as a manager, right? As a senior manager in a corporate world. Don't wait for permission. Tell me what you intend to do, and I'll give you my feedback if that's what you want, right? Or trying to prove that you're ready. All out of alignment totally sends you completely out of whack energetically. And those are three things that are really important to just pay attention to because you're on the wrong path. That's the key.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, this could also be, I do have a note here, forcing growth that isn't aligned, right? To get that new promotion, I have to do X, Y, Z.
Mhm. Mhm.
No,
Mhm.
no, you don't. No, you absolutely don't. That just tells you perhaps you're not in the right space.
Mhm.
That space cannot hold the superpower that you have,
Mhm.
that you are meant to grow into.
Mhm.
Oftentimes that the real issue is you just don't trust your natural way of leading because of XYZ, external, whatever, past narratives, right? So you compensate. And that's what I help to teach people about themselves like that's not going to get you anywhere to feeling that success in what you own and what you create
Mhm.
in where your power lies. So again, decision fatigue, burnout, inconsistent leadership presence. That's also an example of what might happen. And you're not behind if this is how you feel. A lot of us have felt in these spaces, right? You're just out of alignment. And so let's think about how to get you back into your own trajectory. Um, invitation here. So when the stakes get higher and things start moving faster and more responsibility is on the table, I think your viewpoint is going to be a little bit different than maybe some of the audience members. But do you naturally step forward? Do you hesitate? Do you overthink? Do you pull back? Or is it a melange of them?
I think it really depends on what my spirit team is telling me. Um, Right, I'll just give you right now. So I'm coming out of the void. I call it the void. Sometimes I get put in a holding pen by my spirit team and I just have to wait. And it's been probably like 2 months. And
Hmm.
I'm just like, oh. And so I started talking to him, like, where are you guys at? Like, hello, I need my downloads. I thought it would come over our holiday that we just had a week or two ago. Because that's usually when most of my downloads come is when I've had time to relax, but I didn't have time to relax on this break. And so I just started tuning in and asking for guidance, and they have come back. So now that they have come back, I see clearly what
Mhm.
was going on. And it was that my physical health was clouding my spiritual health. It wasn't that they were actually gone, but my family was going through some things and my health took a downturn with it because it was so stressful. And
Sure.
that was clouding my ability to tap in. So normally, what I do is I will pause if I'm unsure. I do have the sacral hell yes or hell no, but if so, I always wait 24 hours to make sure that it's a solid yes or no.
Mhm.
But if I'm unsure, I'll pause. So I'll give a tangible example, right? We hired this amazing team member. I loved her so much. Her name is Nora, and she had something come up, and a month in, it was right person, right place, wrong time for her.
Mhm. Mhm.
And we will welcome her back anytime, but she needs to go on her hiatus. And immediately I felt relief in my body. And I was like, oh, maybe I need to pause on a team member. And when I said it to the team, they felt relief. So,
Mhm.
whereas 4 months ago, when we started this hiring process, they were super duper excited to have a team member. They were like, yes, 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 right thing. We're so overwhelmed, blah, blah, blah. Then bringing on that team member and then them leaving, they're now like, not sure. So we're going to pause. And it's not a no. We still have applications coming in. We're still going through the process for the next person, but we're kind of unsure. And so we're just going to like feel it out.
Really interesting that it was 4 months because four holds the energy of decision making and doing so from a non-emotionally charged space. So just reflecting that back to you,
Thank you.
whatever that lends you. Now, I know that we've kind of gone into a lot of different things. I do want to touch on, we've talked about the good and the contrast to the good, about what might happen if you're not in alignment. And I think we've all sort of felt that ick within us, right? But how knowing this, besides getting your blueprint, how knowing this, can you then, once you've identified where people really tap into you consistently, where you light up, where you feel good in your body, right? Your body's going to tell you exactly what feels aligned. How do you accelerate your path to growth with this leadership power?
Mm,
So I have four different points here. One is stop studying leadership and start observing yourself.
hmm
Where do you naturally take the lead? What feels obvious to you that others struggle with? That
hmm
is a key indicator. It could be as small, as insignificant as you think it is. You need to dive into that. Make your leadership, make yourself aware of that leadership, right? Remove what isn't yours to carry. Not every responsibility is yours. It's not every responsibility is your trajectory, right? And over responsibility slows expansion.
hmm
I'm going to share a little bit about myself, but that hits for me. Three, move before you feel ready. And
hmm
this can be really uncomfortable, right? Your trajectory activates through action, not analysis, right? It's important to sort of study and observe yourself, but do not wait a year, 2 years, because you're like, I'm in study mode still. That's not acceptable. And that's not a way to growth. That might be hard to hear, but it's the
Not for
truth.
me.
Yes,
I
I
often
know,
move
I know.
when it's uncomfortable. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's right.
Mhm. One thing to be aware of is like trusting your pattern. So when you feel like your leadership is in a rhythm, again, personal, professional, it doesn't matter. It could be that you just like accelerate at making sure the team comes together, right? You're not in a leadership position, perhaps, but it doesn't matter. Like you are the glue that holds that team together. And also like celebrate that with a pat on the back every once in a while because we don't do that enough.
No.
So recognizing this power and really allowing yourself to feel that and receive that recognition is key to the growth.
Okay.
That was a number 5, apparently. You don't need a new plan. You need to move faster on the one that's already working. Okay.
Okay.
Here's the one that most people miss. What feels obvious to you again, but seems harder for everyone else. That is key. Obvious to you, harder for everyone else. I want to just really briefly talk about my leadership trajectory because I think it can be really cute sometimes. So let me give you an example of what this can look like, right? You might be the person on your team, like I am, who ends up holding everything together, right? Like I had us do a teaming agreement after I did everyone's team dynamic blueprint. It's like a mini leadership blueprint. I did it for every single person on my team. And it wasn't assigned to me. I just knew, and it lit me up, and I knew how important this work was going to be to bring us together. I'm not the one, or I'm the one that people come to when they feel something is unclear or off or unstable, because I bring that bit of structure and a space in which to hear that, right? And I step in, I reorganize, I see what's not working, and I offer up suggestions, or I invite people in to offer their own suggestions to make it make sense again. Over time, I'm not just contributing like minimally, right? I'm setting the standard for how things operate. And that's what I do on my team. And that's what I do on our broader team. I was promoted, but it didn't necessarily mean that, right? It just means that I was naturally, and when you authentically do these things, it lights you up in a way that you just start to receive. You start to receive the things that you are destined for. And that is what is so important. There was one piece I wanted to share with you. When this gets out of control for me, and I know that I'm either following someone else's timeline or I'm feeling burnt out, I feel like I have to control the narrative. And so what that does is it cuts off that open space that I usually give, because I'm like, well, I have to get this done. I take on that responsibility. I take on having to create that structure. But really what I'm doing is I'm just trying to control it because I'm out of alignment with whatever the outcome needs to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The way that I recognize that is control, because I know control is the opposite of creating that structure and that openness and that trust. As soon as I go into, wait a second, like I'm trying too hard right now,
Mm-hmm.
then we bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
So sort of like closing this up a little bit.
Okay.
You already know where you're meant to go. That is not the problem. The problem is what happens when pressure hits and you stop leading like yourself. Most people don't fail in a certain strategy. They fail in their response to pressure.
Yep.
And perceived pressure. And so what we're going to do that's really cute in the next episode is that we're going to actually talk about a thing, an energetic center that's called the stress response pattern. Woo, this one is fun. It's the exact moment where your leadership shifts and tightens and disappears entirely, and how to stop that from running the show. So.
Yes. Okay. Well, if you have enjoyed this, definitely like, share, subscribe, comment below. We're going to be talking about stress response patterns on the next one. And if you need to connect with Cash, she's in our community, community.sovereign-magazine.com, and all her details are in the show notes. Thank you, my love.